Broncos country, was popping, my people? How y'all doing, man? It's your boy Mark here, Marcky Sports. And we are almost 2 weeks out from the NFL draft, man. Exciting times. And the rumor mill is starting to spin. The latest one involving the Broncos is a very, very intriguing, interesting running back that I think could be a really good fit, or maybe something that does make sense for the Denver Broncos. And we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about exactly who that is and other options as we continue to discuss how we solve this massive hole that we have at running back, right? And I think it's going to be pretty easy to do it. And we're going to break down all the different ways. And if you love Denver sports, if you love the NFL draft, if you love just having a good time, man, consider subscribing to the channel. Check some of the other videos out. If you like what you see, I hope to earn a subscribe from you. And if you are a subscriber, guys, tell a friend to subscribe. Have a friend tell another friend. I am so close to my goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers before the draft. And I appreciate y'all in advance. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the one and the only guy that everyone's talking about that the Broncos could potentially look at, and that is running back Breece Hall from the New York Jets. Now, obviously, the rumor mill, man, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But Breece Hall is a very intriguing prospect because he's a very, very good running back overall. He just is. 6'1", 220. He was the 36th overall pick in the 2022 draft. The cool thing about him is he's only 23 years old. He'll be 24 when the season starts, so he's still very young, and you don't have to really consider doing anything with his contract until minimum after this season, but you really got 2 years left on his deal if you wanted to trade for him. So that in and of itself is a really positive thing. Here's the questions that you got to ask yourself. Oh, and before we get into the PFF stuff, let me go ahead and just break down some of his numbers. So his rookie season, he was a part-time player, only started 2 of the 7 games, 4 touchdowns, 80 carries on 463 yards, which is a really good 5.8 yard average, had a really long touchdown run against the Broncos, then proceeded to tear his ACL that season, but came back the next year, started 16 of the 17 games, 223 attempts, 994 yards, 5 touchdowns. But here's the kicker. He had 95 targets, 76 catches for 591 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then this past season, very similar stats, 876 rush yards, had 57 catches for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now there's a lot of fans in Jets land talking about he's kind of fallen off and he's not as good of a player as he used to be and blah 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 blah. But they're Jets fans, so you gotta take some of what they say with a grain of salt. But it's important to notate that obviously the Jets have been kind of a train wreck offensively. Obviously with Nathaniel Hackett running the show, everything's going to be a train wreck. And now with Aaron Glenn there and the team kind of rebuilding, I think that they're heading in a really good direction. They're going to look at trading all the guys that have value. And Breece Hall certainly has value. They've also got some pretty good players behind him that can fill the gap and fill the void. So we'll see what ultimately happens here with Breece Hall. Now, another question is, what is it going to take? What is it going to take for the Broncos to be able to get Breece Hall? That's obviously a big question. If you're talking a day 3 pick, sure, I would begin negotiating at that kind of a price. Otherwise, not a chance in hell I'm giving a first, second, or a third rounder at all for Breece Hall. It's not anything that would make sense because this is a really deep draft. Here's the positives and the negatives. And I'll preface by telling you guys this. I would not be, if you're going to ask me, like, should the Broncos do it? I would say no. But there's also a lot of factors that go into it, right? And that's why I think waiting until the draft to do anything, which is what I think is most likely to happen, is the smart thing to do. You got to see how this draft falls to you. You got to see what opportunities that you get. We here as analysts, and as fans, we talk about all the different running backs that we like in the different situations that we like. But it ultimately comes down to what's the Broncos board. Let's say of all these running backs, the Broncos really prioritize 3 guys. And if they're unable to get one of those 3 guys, then Breece Hall is a very intriguing option because he's somebody that brings experience. He's still young. He's shown that he can be really explosive and make big plays. But more importantly, he's a very good receiver out of the backfield. 76 catches 2 years ago, 57 last year. I mean, 120 something catches over the last 2 seasons. That is a very good fit on the surface for Sean Payton. So he would be a really good plan B option because I'm not, even though it's a big need, yes, we need a running back. I'm never a fan of running a team needing to force something. I'm not going to force a running back for the team if there's somebody else that George Payton and Sean Payton like. The nice thing about the situation that we're in now with George and Sean running the team is that they've proven that they're good decision makers, right? They've made a lot of really good decisions, so it's earned our trust. So if it ultimately comes out and we don't end up getting one of the running backs that we want, or maybe they end up taking a back that I'm not a big fan of, we're just going to have to trust that those are the right decisions that are made, right? We can obviously have our opinions about it, no doubt about it, but they've kind of earned that until they haven't. And so I don't think that, even though I know that they view running back as being a very big need for us, I don't view them forcing the pick. Let's say they're at a situation where, they got Quinshon Judkins and they got Mason Taylor available. Let's just give you a hypothetical. And they like Mason Taylor more. They should take Mason Taylor then, if that's the case. That is what should happen. If their evaluation has led them to like a player that's not a running back more than a running back that is available, they should go with the player they like more and not force it and let the board fall to them. And I think that they will do that. And Breece Hall is an intriguing option that allows them to do that even more. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on it. But hey, man, if you're asking me, I like the idea of drafting a running back and then also getting Breece Hall. Why the hell not? Revamp this entire room. We could do both. We could draft 2 running backs and still trade for Breece Hall, and I'd be okay with it, because the more the merrier. You know that the guys that you have on the roster are not going to be the solution, not just for this year, but definitely not for the next couple seasons. So why not get more guys in the kitchen that can give you more opportunities? So that's where I'm at. But Breece Hall is someone that I think is a really good running back. He's a very intriguing option, similar to Tyler Algier being another veteran running back that could be traded before, during, or after the draft that some people are talking about. But that's about it. Going after a running back like J.K. Dobbins doesn't make sense. Even though he's younger, he's got a very lengthy injury history, and there's just no reason to have to go after a running back that you're going to have to pay a decent amount of money to keep. Now, his price is probably going to be going down, so he's probably going to be cheaper, but you're still going to have to pay something that's probably not going to give you the best overall value, or it's going to be heavily incentive driven, which it should be. But even then, I'm sick of trying to find these Band-Aid fixes. I say priority number 1, get a running back in the draft. If it doesn't work out, then you look at veterans like Breece Hall and like Tyler Algier that you can send, a late round picks or a future mid to late round pick for to bring them in and compete with the guys that you got. So that's kind of my thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys feel below about somebody like Breece Hall. Definitely the most intriguing option outside of the draft that has come about, for the last several months. So that's pretty cool. But I'm excited, man. I can't wait. And guys, I'm just letting you know as well something cool. We are, like I said, almost 2 weeks away from the draft, and I'm getting ready to drop a ton of really great content. My final mock draft, my top 10 wish list for the Denver Broncos. We're going to go on and on talking about, the best picks for each round, some late day gems. We got a lot of great things coming on. So like I said, guys, tune in, be on the lookout for that. But until the next video, y'all be sure to take it easy, spend time with those that you love the most, and peace out.